Welcome to Kenya Political Table, where we discuss matters politics, matters governance, of course, who did what, where, when, why, how. And most definitely, when we talk about matters politics, when we talk about matters governance, we never fail to ask the question, how much money was spent, how much money is going to be spent, how much more or less is the taxpayer going to incur. And as usual, I'm joined by our analyst, that is Emmanuel Bosire, who helps us understand as well as digest what is happening in our country, Kenya, East Africa, Africa, and the world at large. Now, what is currently happening in Kenya? A lot is currently happening in Kenya. Of course, we have the issue of sending our police to Haiti, which Kindiki Kithure, that is the Minister of Interior, has talked about it or has said something about it in regards to now sending them to fight or to help in fighting the gangs in Haiti. We know the court had made a different decision stating that they shouldn't go or that the procedure should be halted. But we are most probably seeing them actually going to Haiti to help or to assist in the kind of war as well as the kind of unrest and insecurity that is happening there. We also had the Tubonglore Festival happening today, that is in Turkana. And most definitely our president, that is President William Ruto, attended that. Of course, we are going to be talking about that. And most definitely what is currently trending or what we are looking at is what is the fate of Kenya, what is happening in the Mount Kenya region. And that is among the things that we're going to be having in this particular discussion. Now, starting us off, of course, the president, William Ruto, was today at the Tubonglore Festival that was happening in Lodwar. And most definitely he did address a couple of things, including visiting Kenya visa-free, number one. He also talked about the current projects that are ongoing in Kenya, as well as in his speech he mentioned that among the leading causes or among the contributors of the terrible economy in Kenya is the handshake or the BBI. Now, of course, we have various questions regarding this because, number one, we are seeing or we have been talking about a possible handshake between President Ruto as well as the opposition leader, that is Raila Odinga, as well as on the other side, trying to see what Rigathi Gachagua is trying to do in regards to Uhuru Kenyatta and him trying to unify the Mount Kenya region. Now, we're just going to listen to the president's speech or the president's remarks, and then we'll be back in a few.
Nitatuma KMC pale mahali kuna kichinjio ama abattoir. I am going to instruct KMC to take it over and to operationalize. Ndio tuhakikisha kwamba sehemu hii na vile vile mahali pale ya Heights and Skin hapa Lodwar, hiyo vile vile nitaishughulikia. Tayari nitatuma waziri akuja hapo aangalie ndio ajue tutafanya nini na tukishirikiana na serikali yenu ya county. Vile vile Lake Turkana ambaye ni ziwa kubwa sana yenye iko kwa desert. Waziri Mvurya na huyu Kaituko ambaye ni PS wetu nimempeleka kwa hiyo idara kwa sababu nataka ashughulike na hii Turkana hapa. Hapa Lake Turkana iko na resources nyingi ya chakula. Iko na resource kubwa ya utalii na tunataka kuifungua rasmi. Waziri Mvurya atakuwa hapa in the next 10 days. Akuja ashughulike na county hii na viongozi wa hapa ndio tupange mpango wa Lake Turkana, tuhakikisha kwamba inashughulika na mambo ya maendeleo na kutega uchumi wa sehemu hii. Ndugu zangu watu wa Turkana, mimi nimefurahi sana kufika hapa leo katika sherehe hii ya mila, desturi na utamaduni, sio ya watu wa Turkana peke yao, kwa sababu hapa is the cradle of humankind. So this is not a Turkana celebration. This is not a national celebration. This is a global celebration of humanity because we are at the cradle of humankind. Mumesikia hata huyu mtu wa kutoka China amesema hata yeye ako nyumbani. Yes. Even our friends from China have confirmed that in Turkana, they too are at home. So we welcome all citizens of the globe to Turkana County, to the home of humankind, na tushirikiane na mambo yote ya maendeleo. Kwa mambo yenu ya elimu, vile mmesikia na Mwara kisema, hiyo shule yenu ya kufundisha walimu hapa Bishop Mahon hapo, nitawapatia milioni 20 ya kwanza, nione vile itafika. Mkitumia vizuri nitapanga tena, mkiharibu nitakuja na shoka nikate mtu. Kwani mnafikiri mnaweza kutumia pesa ya serikali vibaya alafu nikae tu hivi hivi? Nitakuja na nyundo kubwa sana. Na vile vile nimekubali ya kwamba tayari tuko na Lodwar University, Turkana University hapa. Si namna hiyo? Hiyo university haina charter. Mimi nikikuja mahali binadamu wote wametoka. Sasa tumesema duniani kote, wakiwa Marekani, wakiwa Ulaya, wakiwa Australia, wakiwa bara lote la Afrika, wakiwa kule Asia, wakiwa sehemu zote, sasa wote wanakaribishwa nyumbani, na wakifika nyumbani watafika mpaka hapa Turkana. Hiyo Science Park ambayo ilianzwa na mzee wetu Richard Leakey ambaye ametutangulia, tumeweka maanani kama serikali, tutakuja kujenga hiyo Science Park hapa ili wageni wetu wa kutoka duniani kote wakikuja Kenya wakuje mpaka waone mahali binadamu wa kwanza walianzia. Itatusaidia kuongeza watalii watakao kuja Kenya. Itatusaidia kuongeza nafasi ya ajira itakayotokana na watalii wengi watatutembelea. Itatupatia soko ya chakula zetu ikiwemo ng'ombe zetu na nyama na maziwa, na itatupatia nafasi ya kukuza uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Nataka nimwambie gavana wenu na viongozi wote wa Turkana ya kwamba serikali ya kitaifa tutafanya kazi na serikali ya kaunti ya Turkana kuhakikisha ya kwamba the cradle of humankind, the home of humanity, inakuwa ni mahali ambapo dunia kote watatembea hapa kama vile wanatembea kule Mecca, watakuwa wanatembea hapa Turkana kuja kuona mahali binadamu walianza safari. Nimeona niseme mambo haya ya culture kwa kirefu, na pia hawa ndugu zetu wa kutoka nchi zingine watusikie, kwa sababu ni ya muhimu na kwa sababu tunataka kuitumia kuendesha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya na kupanua nafasi za ajira na kusukuma mambo yetu ya profile ya nchi yetu ya Kenya. Jana nilipata nafasi ya kuongea na viongozi wenu. Niliketi chini pamoja na MCAs jana jioni, niliketi chini na wabunge wenu pamoja na gavana wenu. Na mbali na kutembea katika sherehe hii ya muhimu, pia tumeongea na kupanga mambo ya maendeleo na usalama wa kaunti yetu ya Turkana. Kwanza tumekubaliana ya kwamba ile stima ambayo inatoka Takwel ambayo tulileta ikafika hapa Lokichar, viongozi wenu wameniuliza hiyo stima ifike hapa Lodwar na iende mpaka kule Kalokol, ndio tutoe samaki, tuwe na cold room, tuweze kufanya biashara. Na mimi nimekubali hivi ya kwamba nitatafuta shilingi milioni 800 ya kufanya hiyo kazi, na mutanipatia tu nafasi, kwa sababu kujenga hiyo maneno kutoka huko Lokichar itachukua muda kidogo. Nahitaji 15 months na stima itakuwa inawaka hapa Lodwar town, alafu nitaisukuma mpaka ifike Kalokol, ndio tuweze kutumia katika biashara yetu ya uvuvi na kupanga uchumi wa sehemu hii. Jambo la pili, tumekubaliana na viongozi wenu ya kwamba kuna barabara ambazo zimekwama. Hizo barabara mimi mwenyewe nilikuja nikaanzisha kutoka hapa Lodwar, ikaenda Lorenkibi, ikaenda Lorgum, inataka iende mpaka boda yetu. Na ile ingine tena nilikuja nikaanzisha ya kutoka kule Lokitang, ilikuwa ije mpaka hapa Kalokol, kilomita karibu 100 na kitu. Hizo barabara zote zimejengwa kidogo kidogo, na ni kwa sababu tuliingiwa na maneno ya, mnajua ile maneno ya salamu ikakuwa mingi, ikakuja na BBI, ikakuja na rege, mambo ikaharibika na uchumi yetu ikazama. So sasa tumepanga tena vizuri, mtanipatia tu nafasi kidogo nipange mambo, alafu nikuje nimalize hizo barabara na zingine ambazo tumekubaliana na viongozi wenu. Nchi nyingi wanasema wako na nafasi ya Wakenya kufanya kazi kule Marekani, kule Ujerumani, kule Canada na sehemu zingine, kule UAE, kule Saudi Arabia, na atupeleki tena ati wale watu wa kufanya kazi ya domestic. Sasa tunapeleka wananchi wako na skills, wako na profession, ndio tuweze kupata ajira ya vijana. Tuko na vijana wengi wamesoma, wako na diploma, wako na degree, wako na certificate. Ni jukumu letu kupanga mambo yao ya ajira. Vijana, mnanisikia? So tutashirikiana na hawa viongozi wote, na mimi nimefurahi sana kufika hapa leo. Asanteni sana kwa kunikaribisha. Nimesikia vile viongozi wamesema tutaungana na tutaenda mbele pamoja. Si namna hiyo? Si ndio? Nyinyi mnajua ya kwamba kama mko na rafiki, mimi ndio rafiki yenu. Ama namna gani? Na sasa nyinyi mjipange. Si mnaona hata saa zingine mnakosa kunipigia kura, lakini mimi napita tu. Sasa mbona mnasumbuka kwa sasa mimi kura na napita? Si kwa sababu ya maombi? Mtaniombea? Mtaniongezea kura juu ya maombi ndio tupeleke Kenya mbele pamoja? Hebu nione kwa mikono wale wanasema ni kweli hivyo. Basi mimi nawapenda sana, nawatakia heri, nawatakia baraka ya Mungu.
Yes, so that was the President William Ruto while at the Tubong-Lure Festival, and of course he talked about a couple of things. And in his speech or in his statement, of course, we have seen the cost of living or the uchumi ya Kenya imekuwa attributed towards the handshake between Uhuru and Raila. Now, Emmanuel, would that really be the case, or is the president trying to shift blame on not addressing the current state of Kenya, the economic state of Kenya?
Yeah, true, because we Africans, not only Africans, we human beings, we want to shift the blame to another person. Mm-hmm. Adam was asked, why did you take the fruit? He said it's you. He was asked, why did you take the fruit, forbidden fruit? The snake. Mm-hmm. The snake, the devil. So when you ask President William Ruto, why have you not done key development projects about your manifestos? Mm-hmm. He will come and say, wale ndugu zetu tunawaheshimu, ni wangwana, waliharibu economy. Mm-hmm. So instead of maybe giving explanation that we can understand, they blame handshake. Handshake came and went. Handshake actually did not last even for 5 years. Mm-hmm. It lasted around 3 years, active handshake. Mm-hmm. Handshake has come to the end. Mm-hmm. You've gone to an election, you've won the handshake brothers. Why don't you deliver to Kenyans? No. Why are you still blaming handshakes? So meaning that you don't want to heal, but you want to use it as a political tool to blame us. So to blame the handshake. So you will be saying the same until 2027. Mm-hmm. And then you will say now that the handshake is over, just give me one term. If you only give me one term, I'm your fellow hustler. We've come from far. Give me one term, and I'm going to rectify everything. So by saying that, I want to say that the president should no longer be blaming the handshake. He should instead be saying, give me time. I've tried to fix the mess that was caused by handshake, and I'm now able to drive our country to a great agenda of development, where we are able to sort out the unemployment rates, which increases, whereby we are able to sort out the issue of the elderly, the less privileged in the society. You know, one thing I've come to realize with these politicians, including our president, they don't see other Kenyans as Kenyans. They see other less privileged Kenyans as votes. When a president goes to, like he was in Sia, a mammoth of people came, a crowd, big crowds, he saw votes. He saw votes. And this is the problem we have with our leaders. When you go to any rally and you find many people coming freely to listen to your speech, you take advantage of them and say, hey, today I was able to pull a crowd. I'm a good leader. Those are great votes. Without knowing that they will once turn against you. They will turn against you and you will not even able to understand perhaps why that happened. So this narrative of President insisting about the handshake, it will come to an end. And when it will come to an end, he might like another option. Now, whom will he blame again?
Probably the deputy president.
Whom will he blame?
Probably the deputy president.
So you start blaming the deputy president. I was working for the Kenyans, but the deputy president never supported me. But we will not hear those stories. So best of him, let him deliver. To your information, you saw first year in office, he has done nothing about his manifestos. He's still blaming the handshake. You saw the fuel prices. He blamed who? The war in Russia and Ukraine. They said that this is an international thing. Thank God, Israel and the war in Israel has not really affected much of us. You say, I was to help you, but the war in Israel, I was to help you Kenyans, but the war in Haiti, we want to help our brothers in Haiti. But before we move to mass and sort out the problems in mass, let's start with Earth.
No, most definitely. And of course, we've seen, if there's a common statement I've seen from the president's recent visit. Now, when he went to Nyanza, he said this particular statement, and I had the same statement when he was at Lodwa. Now, we know, of course, unemployment is a very big issue in Kenya, and for the longest time, we have seen the current government promise jobs to the youth. Now, the one statement that has been common with the president is that ama utachagua jembe, and we have seen most of the jobs or the job offers being given to the youth, for example, on the sector of housing. Is it that as Kenya or as the Kenyan government, there are no other jobs or other job opportunities that can be created for the youth aside from Mjengo?
Now, honestly, you find that much of our education had been consisting of theory and less practicals. So when you have a curriculum where there's much theory, it's very difficult for you to transform the theory to practicals. And with evolution, we are in 21st century. The kind of jobs we have at the moment, majority of the jobs are skills oriented. They are not much of school oriented. They are skills. What are you able to do? Not what do you know? Where did you read? When did you graduate? So such questions are limited in 21st century. Two, what can you do? And you find out the employment patterns have changed. So today, instead of giving someone an employment, you're being told have a LinkedIn account, be active in social media, go to public websites, be trying to apply. So those are things that make even youths more vulnerable, because you spend a lot of time maybe applying millions of jobs and you don't even land one.
No.
Now, with the current evolution of remote jobs, maybe worldwide, you find out that majority of the youths don't have, first, the hardware, they don't have the instruments to use, and second, they don't have the soft skills. So compared with what we've been having, we have roughly 100,000 graduates from universities every year.
No.
With the low employment rate, you find out that the learned, the literate, and even the most are unemployed. Whereas others, those we call school dropouts, but I don't know term them so, they turn out to personal businesses, they turn out to personal investments, they turn out to border riding, they turn out to normal jobs. So you find out that as a country, we still up to the moment prefer white collar jobs.
No.
Something that I think in 21st century it's difficult to get it. So you see, you must move in and have maybe plumbing skills, riding skills, maybe they are employing drivers, maybe they want game park rangers, all those. So you find out that as a country, when it comes to employment rate, we even have unemployment rate increasing, because we are unable to absorb the ones coming out from universities, from learning institutions, and that's why you find out that we are getting almost, one of the reasons why majority, okay, I think many universities abroad are free, because one, the employment rates is very high. So you find out that students will be able even to afford their studies payments. So you find that it's going to be free.
No.
But you come to Kenya, where you've been seeing all this trending all over the country, that you invest 1 million plus in university studies, only to be paid 15,000 a month.
No.
So how do you bring and harmonize the two with the real practicality of what's happening on the government? So to him promising jobs which are maybe practical jobs is one way to observe people who might think it should be a short term. Whereas those ones who will be taking, where there's a problem, if you solve a problem, you'll be ahead of many people.
No.
So if the president and the housing industry at large sees that in Kenya we have a great opportunity. Our environment is comfortable. People can work both day and night.
No.
How do we create more jobs? If the government decides now to invest a lot in housing and saying that now we want to change Buruburu, want to change Kibra, we want to change maybe the slums, Mathari and whatsoever. So if they go the Chinese way and maybe the American way, whereby you shift a whole town now, you maybe say we want to build you a temporary housing structure for 2 years, and you give us 2 years, we want to rebuild and rebrand Kibra. So here, between 2 years, you want to employ a lot of young people, and here you would have sorted the unemployment rate, and then now when you finish and say now in the next maybe a phase of 2 to 3 years again, God willing, we went to rebuild and maybe rebrand Kakamega town. And then you do the same. You'll have sorted. There's a lot of employment opportunities in building, in housing. Here you need skilled labor. You need unskilled labor.
No.
You need many entities come together. You need transporters. You need middlemen. So on the way, you find out that you're going to employ a lot of people, either indirectly or indirectly. So as a government, if for sure the president is dedicated to the big four agenda, specific the one in housing, they do a lot of work. And on the same, they need to to look for ways. Now that the world has become a global village, I'm happy with what's happening with the nurses. Nurses are skilled, they are learned, they are trained. So in as much jobs in Kenya are becoming maybe difficult to get, facilitate a way whereby our Kenyan nurses can work abroad, as we've been seeing. And where we find that the challenge that they have been having is a challenge of language. Why don't you have a boot camp and a training for intensive 6 months training? Not even 6, let's say 3 months, whereby you take the nurses. You know, the thing is, they have, I cannot say basic English, but I can say they have intermediate English. So what you need to do, you set aside some amount, bring the experts, give them of other people. And perhaps now, thank God they've changed the curriculum from the 844 system to CBC curriculum. So you are much aware that the little lamps, the grade 1, 2, 3, what they are doing much better compared to Form 2 high school.
100%.
In 844 system, those little lambs are able to cook good food. They're able to dance modern ways, modern dance, modern moves. They're able to sing and compose songs, which people want. So you can see that the new curriculum, in as much it's expensive to parents, it's very accommodating to all children, whereby every student is a bright student. If I'm unable to perform well in class, I have a skill that God gave me. I have an ability. I can see someone do something, and I'm able to copy and make it to be my own. You know, the problem with copying and pasting is that it does not give you originality. But when you copy something from 5 different people and do it in a better way, it gives you originality. So I think there are many ways where the government is able to absorb both the skilled and unskilled for employment. And maybe for those interested in the business, like me, why don't you bring in the upgrade the SMEs into medium projects? Why don't we had President Uhuru Kenyatta bringing about AGPO, whereby it was giving youths opportunities to act in government tendering. So instead of getting the tenders by the government, they're given to big men, big fish. Why don't you bring up the youth? So here we saw that around 30% of the government jobs are going to the youth, and they are being advertised. It's very active up to today. It's only that there's some corruption, and we live in Kenya. Anything can happen. So when we do all those, we are able to bring in a clean government. It cannot be clean under President William Ruto, but I know God's going to give us someone who is better, who is going to first stop giving blames. You know, it's very bad when you keep on giving
The blame
blames.
game,
Why don't you own the responsibility? You're telling us it's handshake. Why did the handshake come if we were not the problem? You remember a lot of billions were being stolen. Going into which accounts? You remember the Kimwarel Dam? Money went into which account? You remember the Rualaka land? Money went into which land? So when you have those things being spoken to a president, a deputy president, now a president, and still blaming the handshake, it does not give us a big picture. And I like the maybe leadership of the white people. If you are being blamed more than twice, you resign from job. If you have been accused with any corruption scandal, you first resign. I saw the other day one of the ministers in England who resigned for being late in National Assembly for only 1 minute. 1 minute he was late, and he said, "I'm sorry, I'm late to represent my people," and he resigned. And someone else comes and takes the seat. When will we have Kenya? When will we have Africa, where politicians are not only politicians but leaders? But where we have politicians, Ruto forgets he's a leader now. He's campaigning. He's in a campaign. You saw he saying that in 2027 he kills Rushamaliza. Now 2023. Rigathi Gachagua says in 2027, I'm going to give 100% voting block from where?
Mount Kenya
How
region.
do you substantiate the two? What have you done to mkulima wa maziwa, mkulima wa chai, mkulima wa kahawa, mkulima wa mahindi? Mvua El Nino imeharibu mahindi, umeona wameuza mahindi yao kwa bei ya kutupilia, and then you are telling us in 2037 you want to give 100%. That cannot be practical, unless maybe he was dreaming. That cannot be practical, unless maybe they form a system.
No.
But again, systems are being broken.
Yeah.
Systems are being broken. So I think that's the way to go, and I am happy that we have many Kenyans. You know, let me tell you, in politics, in political science studies, you might have known this, that people with power don't have ideas.
Yeah, it's true. It's those with that power who have ideas.
The people who have got powers, they don't have any ideas. President Ruto now does not have any idea on how to transform Kenya. He doesn't have any idea. That's why good politicians and good leaders actually take advantage of the ones in opposition. And that's why we need opposition as a country. It's the ones in opposition who see the opportunity. And you being a leader, when opposition points out to something that's very critical, that's very touching to everyone in the ground, that's where now you fix that mess. And people will be clapping and saying, our president did this. This is what Kibaki did. When they realized that a lot of youths were unemployed, you know, the first thing he ever did was to bring border sector. He sorted out a universal problem to Kenyan's youths. By that time, when he was becoming the first time president, something up to today, how many youths are in border sector? A lot of youths.
Very many, yeah.
Many of them. They benefit from border. Amke asubuhi, akimbie maraundi, jioni ataenda nyumbani na unga. Something that maybe kama Mwai Kibaki angeintroduce. Najua others wangesema this will bring insecurity.
No.
This will bring insecurity. But when you take advantage of the position, like now Raila Odinga had talked about bei ya unga. And maybe the government for sure does not understand bei ya unga iko aje. You saw the likes of Moses Kuria. Does not know even the price of 2 liters of cooking oil. How much it costs. But they're telling us that go to Ruiru. They say, you know, prices are universal.
Yeah.
Prices, they are being controlled by the market. So when you decide to lie to Kenyans, broad daylight on a camera that my price in Ruiru is cheaper compared to the others, that's very bad. So when we have an active opposition, it will give ideas to a serious leadership in the office. Because Raila Odinga was saying the price of unga. If William Ruto for sure wanted to fix and complete Raila Odinga, was to sort out the price of unga. If we decided to go and look all ways to sort out maybe bring subsidies and say, for the first time, kutuliza hii temperature iko Kenya, let's allocate this amount of money. Let's pay our industries. Let's give subsidies so that the price of unga be 70 yenye alikuwa anasema. Ingekuwa 70, hakuna mtu angeguza William Ruto. Nobody. And then on the process, aseme now, for me to be able to afford this, next year, God willing, sitafanya hii, sasa nitaweka bei ya unga ya mbolea iwe chini. The tractors, aseme we want to invest in agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of our country. GDP yetu more than 50% inatoka kwa agriculture. So when he was to do that, he was to solve this problem. Hatungekuwa na hata demonstrations zingeisha, because honestly, mtu atoa unga maybe 200, arudisha hata 100. A normal Kenyan cannot go to streets. Kenyans even will eat and go and look for jobs.
Lakini wewe mwenyewe umesema if he asks for time and says that he's going to deliver, probably he's going to deliver kwa sababu, of course, we've seen even with the rise of fuel prices, come of late, size gas has moved from even the initial 800 shillings to almost 1500 shillings. That is the 6 kg gas cylinder. But of course, we're looking forward to seeing what the president has in store in order to revive the economy and uchumi of Kenya, because wherever we are, Kenyans are really suffering. Now, during President Ruto's visits to different places, he has been making this statement or assuring Kenyans that despite you people voting for us or not voting for us, and he actually mentioned the same thing in today's festival where he was at, stating that mlinipatia kura kidogo, lakini that doesn't matter because at the end of the day still won, attributing of course the winning to their prayers. And in his statements, of course, we have seen that despite the less votes that he got from that particular region, bado anaendelea ama bado atazidi kuendeleza maendeleo or to deliver to those particular areas. Now, we have seen him speaking a different language, of course, with the deputy president, which has led people to sort of feel or think or assume that kuna bad blood, or the deputy president is in bad books of the president, that is Ruto. And of course, you mentioned earlier on what we are seeing Gachagua doing is trying to garner 100% votes from Mount Kenya or from the Mount Kenya bloc. And every single day, despite him saying that campaign season is over, we have seen, or we are seeing, Kenya Kwanza being foot front or forefront in campaigning for the 2027 general elections, while clearly we are still asking as Kenyans or wondering when we are going to see the progress or when we are going to see the manifesto, the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, manifest itself. Now, of course, now we have the talks, or yesterday, even in our previous video, we talked about Deputy President, that is Rigathi Gachagua, trying to reach out to Uhuru Kenyatta in regards to the talks about uniting, number one, the Mount Kenya region. And of course, for the longest time, we have known Uhuru as a big shareholder, I could say, for the Mount Kenya region. And right now, we are seeing Rigathi Gachagua being put in the same place, considered as the kingpin of Mount Kenya region among different leaders. Now, of course, he has been talking about, number one, trying to unite the UDA members in order to ensure that come 2027, of course, votes za Mzee William Ruto 100%. And he's also extended an invitation, of course, to Azimio members who would like to forward as well as join hands ndo waendeleze maendeleo ya Kenya by joining UDA as a whole. So that, number one, of course, as shareholders, they can be able to benefit big time from the current government or from supporting the current government. Now, of course, we are going to listen to Rigathi Gachagua. That is later on. But first of all, I'd like to bring you in this conversation, Emmanuel. What, of course, we know there is tension between, number one, William Ruto and his deputy president. You guys saw the bombastic side-eye video that was even trending. What can Rigathi do in order to, or what is Rigathi supposed to do in order to be speaking the same language as Ruto when it comes to, number one, trying to garner votes for, of course, 2027, despite it being far, and number two, in order to speak the same language about progressing Kenya as well as addressing the agenda that is supposed to be delivered by the Kenya Kwanza government?
There's nothing that President William Ruto went to deliver. And what's our manifesto? Manifesto is a piece of paper with the promises inside. When you want to vie for any political seat, you don't make a manifesto. You go to the cyber and tell those guys, I want to have this my image. Take me a photo. Make this and this size. Make this and these copies. That be go and throw them. You assign your boys to go and give out manifestos. Of which one of the things they'll be talking about, you've seen maybe in a rural setting, I'll bring electricity. I'll bring water. So when you see maybe there are 10 aspirants vying for a governor seat, and all of them are saying, I'll do the same thing. So until you wonder, who is going to do better? So if someone says, I'm going to bring electricity, I'll make sure that we're having passable roads. I'll improve the schools. I'll give water. I'll improve our markets. So those are ways only to help you win an election. But when you win an election, everything is forgotten. And that's why Kenyans who manage to go to abroad nations, a majority of them, when they come back to Kenya, they are unable to beat and win the elections because they don't understand the nature of African and Kenyan politics. Because here in Kenyan politics, nobody is going to ask you about a manifesto. So when you come to Kenya and you want to ask for any political seat, make sure that you have money, lose money. Make sure that you have 100. Line up them and tell them I'm very busy. I'm running to see some people somewhere. They are really waiting for me. You give them 100, and they vote you the following day, and you become a leader. But come and tell them you putting them in a hole. You're explaining how your manifesto is good. Are you going to structure businesses? Are you going to help youths? Are you going to help churches all over your area? They will not listen to you. So, and President Ruto has that a mastery of Kenyan politics.
No.
That's why wherever he's going out, nimeacha milioni 10, nimeacha milioni 2. Mkono njaa, nimeacha 500 hapa
Kunyweni
watu.
chai.
Kunywe chai. And that's why what keeps him relevant compared to Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has that vision, how we can transform. I don't want to give you money so that you vote me. It's my agendas that make you vote for me. Perhaps that's why Raila Odinga has never become a president.
Generosity is very important in politics.
So, okay, it's according to you. Maybe Kenyan politics. But it's Kenyan politics. And now, talking about Rigathi Gachagua, there's nothing that he can do. There's nothing he can do. The bridges are broken. Rigathi and Ruto's bridges are broken. To mend them, maybe you need iron to mend them. Iron, I mean, maybe the church, the negotiating team from Mount Kenya, political analysts would be saying the dangers maybe of not wanting Rigathi at the moment. So there's nothing that he can do to rescue him. It's more evident. There's no needed in Kenya Kwanza's administration. Because now what Ruto wants to do is to bring a Pentagon. Remember the 2007 Pentagon?
No.
So that's what he's planning out. That's why he's running to Western. If Western gives him 75% of the elections, of the votes come 2027, and I'm sure they will, because Musalia is being sorted. Papa Aroma Senator, you saw how he delivered in 2022. So now the likes of Malala will make sure that they clean up in Kakamega, and the other gentleman from Vihiga, and clean up the whole Western, give 75%. Raila Odinga will be given a seat very soon. So meaning Nyanza region will be sorted. And 96% will vote for Ruto come 2027. So with Western and Nyanza, and 90% from Rift Valley, Ruto will still be a second-term president without Mount Kenya.
And let me ask you now, okay, putting Mount Kenya now in question. According to Rigathi, he stated that back in during Moi Kibaki's era, first term and second term, the Mount Kenya region voted as one block. During Uhuru's term as well, they voted as one block. And now during Uhuru's second term, if I'm not wrong, they voted as two blocks because of, or they were divided like into two blocks because of the handshake issue. Now, come, of course, Ruto's term as well, we have seen it voting in two different blocks. Now, are we looking forward to seeing, for example, like in 2027, Mount Kenya region uniting and voting as one block, or are we going to see it split into different blocks? And number two is, we've seen Rigathi, of course, amesema ako very dedicated to garnering 100% votes, Mount Kenya votes for, that is the deputy, William Ruto come 2027. Does Rigathi really have the power to deliver these votes to Ruto, or it is just pure talk and no do?
I've just answered that question, unless you are not keen. I've said that the between William Ruto and Gachagua is spoiled. So there's nothing like regarding going to be a deputy president come 2027.
But can he deliver the votes?
For which side?
For Mount Kenya.
To which bucket?
Of course, to William Ruto.
No. He's not going to be there. Rigathi is not going to be the running mate for President William Ruto come 2027. Musalia Mudavadi will. So here, Rigathi will be maybe in a different camp, whereby he might not be accommodated, unless if he decides to go for the president, and maybe accommodate someone from the Valley to counter the elections. You know, this is the goodness with the elections and politics, is that if you see I'm not worthy for you, I'll go out and look my own way into the seat. So Ruto and Rigathi in 2027 are no. Indications are open that they will not be there. They will not be the same. Even in 2022, it was only that Ruto had the pressure, the handshake.
No.
If Ruto had read time, he would not have chosen Rigathi Gachagua. Ruto, the intelligent politician, angechukua Rigathi. You saw Kimani Bahati MP saying that it's Ruto who took Rigathi to Mount Kenya, and for sure it's true. We introduced Rigathi to Mount Kenya and saved for his money that rescued him. He used a lot of money to start a learning center. He used to fund a lot of Ruto's functions and campaigns. So that question I've answered, that Gachagua will not be together with Ruto.
Okay. And guys, that is where we are ending our KNA Political Table tonight. Of course, we are going to leave you with this video of Rigathi Gachagua and his plan. Or better yet, him saying or stating why he's actually in need of Kenyatta come 2027, as well as how he's going to ensure that Mount Kenya region vote as a bloc. From the KNA Political Table, thank you for joining us. And we are saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on whatever time you are viewing this.
Malaysia, many people have a problem with our region. I don't know why. Mimi, when I speak, I don't have a voice of my own. I listen to the people. And when we made a decision to support President William Ruto, it's because we listened to the ground. And the ground was for William Samoei Ruto. And we aligned ourselves with the ground. Now, for the first time since the year 2002, watu wa Mlima Kenya tulienda uchaguzi kama tumegawanyika. In the year 2002, tulipiga kura kwa kikapu moja. Tukapigia Rais mstaafu Mwai Kibaki. Mwaka wa 2007, tukapiga kura moja, debe moja. Tukamrudisha Rais mstaafu marehemu Mwai Kibaki. Mwaka wa 2013, watu ya Mlima Kenya tukaungana, tuamani, tukapiga kura sanduku moja. Tukapigia Rais mstaafu wa 4 Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Mwaka wa 2017, once more, tukaungana tena, tuamani, tukapiga kura moja kwa debe moja. Tukamrudisha Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Mwaka wa 2022 tukawanyika. We were divided as a region. One faction led by President Uhuru Kenyatta ikasema itaenda kwa mzee yule Raila Odinga. Another faction iliongozwa na mimi, tukasema twende kwa Rais William Ruto. Tulipoenda kwa debe tukagawanyika. Watu ya Mlima Kenya, the majority wakanifuata. Tukapigia Rais William Ruto 87%. Nayo 13% wakafuata Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, wakapiga kura 13%, ikapotea na ile mzee ya kupotea. Sasa mimi nimeketishwa chini na wazee. Nimeketishwa chini na watu ya kanisa. Nimeketishwa chini na wale watu wamechaguliwa. Na wameniamrisha, na mimi ni mtu ya kusikia. Because I listen to the people. Mimi ni kiongozi ambaye anaheshimu maoni ya wananchi. Viongozi wote ya Mount Kenya region, viongozi wa dini, wafanyabiashara wameniambia, Bwana Deputy President, for now, you are the senior most leader in this region. This is what we want you to do. We don't want to go to any other election divided the way we were in 2022. Na wameniambia nitafute 13% ambayo ilikuwa imeenda pale, nilete yote to 100% behind President William Ruto, so that never again will this region be divided in voting for a president. Never again will this region be divided in pursuing our economic interest. Never again will this region be divided in pursuing our commercial interest. Na kwa hivyo wakaniambia uchaguzi umeisha, tafuta hii watu yote, na nimefurahi ndugu yangu, you have said the same. Wale wote walikuwa kwa Azimio, the election is over. President William Ruto is the president. This region wants to support President William Ruto for 10 years, and they would like to support him to be president in 2027 when they are united as a region. Na mimi nimekubali, and I have started that journey of uniting the Mount Kenya region behind President William Ruto. I don't know why many people have a problem when this region is united in purpose. Many people, for whatever reason, are very uncomfortable. But I'm sorry, there is nothing they can do. I'm sorry for their discomfort. When I said on Friday that I'm going to reach out to all leaders in Azimio and reach out to businessmen, reach out to everybody to unite the Mount Kenya region behind President William Ruto, I have seen a lot of narratives, a lot of interpretation, a lot of false conclusions by people who don't not like us to be united. And I don't understand, Mheshimiwa Linturi. 2 weeks ago, I saw our brothers and our friends in the Western Kenya region calling for unity of the region. I did not see the newspapers write headlines and reading mischief in that call for unity. I didn't see them trying to interpret what it means. But anytime we have called for the unity of this region, a lot of people cannot sleep. You have seen screaming headlines saying that there are problems because simply we have called for unity. But I want to tell them that is not my decision. It is the decision of the Mount Kenya region that has instructed me, instructions that I will follow to the letter, to do whatever is within my power and ability, to reach out to everybody and unite the Mount Kenya region behind President William Ruto. That I'll do. I'm equal to the task, and I've already started. Nimesema watu wetu wale walipotea, hata ile Maoka Maure nitamtafuta, ile mtu mfupi nimtafute. Hata huyu Peter Munya si mtoto wetu, si mtoto wetu. It's no problem. Those who are willing to unite for this region, Peter Munya, I'll reach him out. Maoka Maule, I'll reach him out. The elections are over. There are no elections. Elections were fought and won and lost. President William Ruto is the president of Kenya. The other one is the leader of the opposition. So who voted here or there is no longer important. What is important is the unity of purpose of this region, so that we can support President William Ruto to a man, because he means well for this region. And that we shall do. So the detractors of this region, the people who wishes this region bad, you can continue doing your analysis. You can continue writing headlines. Every day, that will not distract me and the leadership of this region to work towards the unity of purpose for the benefit of the people of this region. Mungetaka niendelee kuunganisha mlima? And I said the other time, when we came here with the president, mlikuwa mnalalamika sana. Mkasema sisi tunapiganga kura tukiwa watu ya mlima. Uchaguzi ukiisha, ile mlima inarudishwa pale, inakuwa ni west na east. Nikahakikishia nyinyi, mkipigia Rais William Ruto kura na mimi, hiyo mlima ya katikati hakuna tena. Na ndio tukaingia hapa katika Meru County, tukateua waziri Mithika Linturi. Tukaenda hapo Tharaka Nithi, tukateua Profesa Kithure Kindiki ambaye anafanya kazi nzuri sana. Tukatoka hapo tukaenda Embu, tukachagua Justin Muturi. Tukarudi hapa Meru, tukachagua Japheth Kome kama Inspector General of Police. Tukarudi hapa Meru, tuko na PS wawili. Tukaenda hapo Tharaka, tuko na PS. Hapo Embu tuko na PS. The Mount Kenya East, for the first time in the political history of this country, imeangaliwa vilivyo vile inatakikana. And I will not allow, under my leadership, a division in between Mount Kenya East and West. The mountain is one. Na hiyo mlima ni yetu, tunaipenda, tunaielewa. Na watu ya Mount Kenya wa East and West will be united in purpose as one. Na mimi sina tashwishi ya kwamba kiongozi wetu Rais William Ruto anatutakia mema, ametuangalia vizuri, tuko na nafasi nzuri ya kupata maendeleo ya kutosha katika mlima Kenya, only when we are united behind him, so that come 2027 we won the last election with only 200,000 votes. If this mountain had been united, ile kura 600,000 ilipotea huko msituni wa mzee ile ya kuzamia ingekuwa yetu. The president would have won with a landslide of almost 800,000 votes. It is my intention, working with the leaders of this region, working with the business community, working with our elders, wazee wa Njuri Jeke, wazee wa Kiama Kiama, wazee wote, vijana, professionals. I want this region to deliver a decisive vote for President William Ruto in 2027, and to make sure that we increase our shareholding in his government from 47%